My journey, my professional journey started as a banker. I was with State Bank of India. When I got my job as a probationary officer in State Bank of India in 1987, I thought my life is sorted out. So I would have been somewhere close to that place. And still, 5 more years of service would have been there from today. However, the life has different designs for us. For him, it came 4 years of his work. For me, it came after 22 years of my work. State Bank posted me to State Bank Staff College in Hyderabad. And that was a phenomenal journey. Those 6 years were extensive learning for myself. I used to say that this is a job in which I am being paid to learn. I'm being paid to read books. I'm asking you as a question right now, how many of you are regular readers of books? You see the number hand, and since there's a group of trainers here, so the number of hands are more. But if I ask it in a larger audience, the number is less than 10%. So I was happy that I'm being paid to learn, I'm being paid to read books. I read some really good books in that period. I don't know how much difference I made to my participants in the rooms. So when it was coming close to repatriation to mainstream banking, there was a nag in the mind. There was a question in the mind. And the question was, what next? Shall I go to mainstream banking, not knowing what will I do, not knowing where will I go, or shall I choose to create a path for myself? And this decision started tilting in favor of creating a path. 2009, I took a decision to resign. I put in my papers, and thankfully, now very interesting, there's a lot of correlation in his story and my story, that ultimately you need to listen to yourself. So thankfully, there was an organization which was ready to offer me a job immediately after leaving State Bank and continue my passion. Administrative Staff College of India is one of the premier training establishments in the country, one of the oldest management institutes in the country, older than IIMs. The reputation has undergone a change, but in terms of the number of years, Administrative Staff College of India continues to be the oldest. I joined there as a professor. I started expanding my reach, different sectors, different levels of peoples, and I thought now my life is sorted out. However, 2 years in that job, I felt that there was a time, let me take you back to my college days, when there was a TV program in which I was one of the, so to say, panel members. I was studying in BCom, and they were asking, what are the aspirations do you have? And I said, I'll do my graduation, I'll do my MBA, I'll do my job for some time, and then I'll start something on my own. I never knew what's going to happen in future, but the desire, I think the seed was there at that time. And the seed was kind of making a noise inside, when will you allow me to come out? And so I put in my papers there also, thinking that now I'll start something on my own. During the notice period itself, there was another institute head who approached me. We want good people like you, and we would like you to have in our institute. Why don't you join us? A little higher salary, a little higher label. I said, okay, let me work for another 2.5 years or so. Let me work for some more time. I didn't have period in mind at that time. So I joined there. After 2 years, the nag started again. The seed started saying again, when will you allow me to germinate? And finally, I put in my papers, not looking at where will I join next, but I'll find my own path. December 2013, I started my journey as Abhivyakti, the expression. So, when you are good in your profession, and I'm being arrogant in saying that, I consider myself good in profession. When you're good in profession, you run a huge risk. And the risk is of, where will you get your money from? So thankfully, first 1.5 year was very good. I was making more than what I was getting in the job. And I thought, now my life is sorted out. So this phrase occurred to me many times. And I got very good assignments, and I thought my worries are over. After completing some of those assignments, there came a time. Now comes the important period. So we are talking about the theme, rise, fall, and return. So after I finished those assignments, there came a month when, listen to this carefully because this is important. There came a month when my 1 month's cash inflow was less than my 1 day's salary in my job. And that got me really, really, really worried. Have I put my family to a risk? I did have a safety net. I still have a safety net. That's for sure. But when you don't have a regular cash inflow, that's a different kind of worry. So I started asking myself, have I put myself to risk, my family to risk? What will happen next? Shall I start looking for a job? However, the answer to this question was always no. You have come out of a job scenario, you can't go back there. That's not the place for you to go. That was very clear. And then started another journey. And remember this thing, friends, there are 3 words which are very important to say, continue to say to ourselves again and again, which as perhaps entrepreneurs, CEOs, parents, we are afraid to say. And those 3 words are, I don't know. So repeat after me, these 3 words, I don't know. Put a little loud. I don't know. And say to yourself, these are very important words to say to yourself. And what could be the reason of saying these 3 words to yourself? Because the moment you say, I don't know, that's when your exploration starts. That's when you start looking out for, 1, what you don't know, and 2nd, who can teach you that? And this is true for all of us in whatever professions we are in. There is something we don't know, and there is someone who can teach that. So I started looking out for, first question, what is it that I don't know? And guess what? I found that I am good in my profession, but I am very bad in business. And unless they are mixed together, you won't be able to sustain. So I was not doing any marketing, any sales. So I started finding out who can teach me. So I found a coach for teaching me marketing and sales, and things started turning around. And another thing I found, that your training style is also becoming obsolete. Those same PPTs and those same stories, they are also becoming obsolete. And will you remain relevant in the next couple of years? So another domain I started exploring was learning new skill sets. So another learning that I'm sharing with you all here is, never say to yourself that you have learned everything, which means continue to learn something, always. So just to share with you a number, and I have also shared my financial situation a little while back. With that at the back, I still invested about 20 lakh of rupees in different kind of learnings from international trainers and coaches. So the idea was to make the business sustain. So that's the concept that I am coming to now. I wanted certain outcomes, that I need to have market reach, I need to have more clients, I need to have regular inflow, and so on. So I wanted certain outcomes. And the question that we need to ask ourselves is, what is it that creates outcomes? What is it that creates outcome? I'm asking you. There has to be some input, and for our outcomes, the input is our, I heard that word, our actions. So I was able to re-establish as a concept, as a trainer, as a facilitator in leadership training, I knew this. But when it comes to my own business, my own work, I was not able to correlate them. So my actions create my outcomes, and I need to start some business actions, some marketing actions, so that I create the outcomes I want. So I started. I started my YouTube channel 2017 January. I started announcing to the world that I'll be writing a book. So it's coming close to 2 years, I'm still announcing that. So I started YouTube channel, I started announcing that I'm writing a book. I started some poster campaigns, blog campaigns, and so on. I started marketing. And theoretically, this is what you need to do to become visible. But nothing was still working. Now that's what set me thinking, Vikram, this is not the complete story. You need to find something more which is missing here. So now I'm asking you all, how many of you know that there is something called an iceberg? What is an iceberg? You don't know? So raise your hand now. What's an iceberg? How much is visible? How much is not visible? 1/7 is visible, 6/7 is inside. And there are different numbers for that. Some say it's 10% visible, and that's okay. The crux is, most of it is not visible. Let's keep it simple. So my actions is my behavior, my actions is my marketing efforts, but there is something more than this which is creating these actions. I set out to thinking as a researcher, as a person who deals with human behavior. And this story, this exploration led me to that my actions come from my feelings. So the question that Mubin, right? The question that Mubin asked, when you fail, what happens? How do you deal with failure? When you fall down, tell me what are your feelings at that time? When you miss the mark, what are your feelings? Name some feelings. You feel sad. You feel demotivated. You feel disappointed. Sunita, how do you feel when you are low, you are down? You feel lost, you feel frustrated. All those feelings are ultimately influencing your actions. So the first clarity I got was, I need to have my feeling right so that my actions are right. So I started working on my feelings. So notice, my dear friends, whatever business, profession, entrepreneurship you are in, your feelings are the game changers. You will fall down. That's going to happen. But the question is, what is the mechanism that you have in place to bring you back up? Because that's the story playing inside, that they are influencing your energy all the time. Tell me, just as a question, so that you are able to understand it a little more. So, when you are feeling low, those words that you said, sad, demotivated, frustrated, and all that, what happens to your energy level? It's down, simple. And with energy down, can you talk to a prospect and a client? And what will you talk to that prospect and a client? Background story, background noise is of feeling low, and you are here to sell. And how many of you believe that your energy travels? Big time. So I started working on my feelings. But I realized even this is not sufficient. There is something which is creating these feelings. And what is that? What is that? What creates our feelings? Our thoughts create our feelings. So, I went to this side of the story. My thoughts are creating my feelings, and I asked myself, what is my pattern of thinking? I've been in a safe and secure job, which means I'm used to monthly inflow, and now I have to create my own cash inflow system. What is my thought around it? Am I capable? My self-doubts were at a very high level at that time. So I started inquiring from myself my thought patterns. And just to share with you all, one of the thoughts that came up, it's a sensitive information that I'm sharing with you all. I somewhere found that I get into this mode very quickly. I get into a victim mode very quickly. And tell me, if you are in a victim mode, how will you deal with a prospect and how will you deal with a client? So I started working on this dimension, and this story kind of got completed. So what I created was, there is a two-way influence here. Your thoughts, your outcomes are influenced by your actions, and your actions influence your outcomes. Your feelings influence your actions, and your actions influence your feelings. Your thoughts influence your feelings, and your feelings influence your thoughts. Your thoughts influence your outcomes, and your outcomes influence your thinking. Your feelings influence your outcomes, and your outcomes influence your feelings. Your thinking influences your actions influence your thinkings. So for myself, I created this two-way connection. And this became a concept by itself to present to the heads of HR or learning and development leaders. And I started telling them, this is how the story goes in your organization also. And there is a feeling of awe I have seen when they listen to this. And when I'm saying to you all, how many of you want to become more resourceful? How many of you recognize that, okay, let me ask you this. How many of you feel that you can have, I won't say complete control, but a major control on your thinking? How many of you believe that it's possible? I'm not saying complete, but major control on your thinking you can have. So you're saying yes. How many of you believe that you can manage your feelings, you can master your feelings, you can change your feelings? How many of you believe that? You can't do that? You can do that or not? Yes or no? Partial. Fine, fair enough. You're still at 50%. So, and how many of you believe that you can control your actions, you can master your action, you can decide your actions, you can choose your actions? How many of you believe that? Now, tell me what is beyond this. If you can choose your thinking, if you can choose your feelings, if you can choose your actions, what remains? If they are, now notice one important thing here, very important thing. All these must get synchronized with each other. If they are not in sync, they will pull you in different directions because the energy is going in a different direction. Now, in addition to this, I also noticed this is not sufficient, this is not complete yet. So I started asking myself more. What more is required now? So I came up with this point that not only these influence your outcomes, the people around you also influence your outcomes. So you remember Charan talked about team? First he talked about idea, then he talked about team. So team is very important. Not necessarily team, but I am saying here people in broad sense because it also talked about onepreneurship, right? So people are very important in your life, and Are you meeting the right people? Are you striking the right conversations with those people? That's very important, because ultimately this will go into your inner self and will influence your outcomes. So, just to share with you, this is a platform where people need to come. This is one of those platforms. But how many of us are here today? How many of us could have been here today, and how many of us are here today? So I'm not saying the world is meeting wrong people. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, how many of people are walking into such platforms on a day-to-day basis? Where are you going? Who are you meeting? What kind of conversations are happening there? And is it true that wherever people meet, there's a lot of negativity also in conversations? Happens or not? How many of you agree? If you are working in an office, what are the kind of conversations you have on a, what is that called? Coffee machine side, right? No, there's a term used for that. Huh? Water cooler conversations and coffee machine conversations. Gossip. So what kind of conversations happen there? Is it all positive? Is it all inspiring? Is it all encouraging? Do people share their success stories there? No. And it has entered your system and you come back to work. And this is what I am working towards now, helping myself and people to understand that there is a lot inside you and that needs to be taken care of, and these are great influences there. Right? So this is another thought that came up, and the last piece in this resources list is, which is a universal resource. What is that resource? Who said that? Round of applause. Louder applause. So time is another resource which we need to take care of, because that's the resource which is limited. That's the resource which is only so much. Someone can ask as a hypothetical question, if 24 hours become 48 hours, what will you do? But it's not going to happen. Whatever has to be done within those 24 hours only. So what is it that you are doing in those 24 hours? Keeping in mind that everything is important. Notice what I am saying here. I am not saying that you become a workaholic. Not at all. Because that will create another kind of imbalance. So doing all that is required for your life to go forward, how are you utilizing your time on a day-to-day basis? And now if I am asking you, beyond these 5 resources that I have mentioned here, tell me, is there anything else that you need to master? Is there any other resource that you require beyond this? Family time. What is family time? Family time is people only. Family time is people only. Is there anything else required beyond these 5 resources to create anything that you wish to? Huh? Tell me, where will the money come from? Who will give the investment? Right? Who is that person? Who is that person? That is people only. Skill. Where does skill come? Skill is a part of your actions. Now, one of the important skills that I am sharing with you all is, that's what I have already said. I am reiterating, emphasizing it once again. Please, please, please continue to learn. And I am saying it a generalized statement. It may not hold true for you, but this is the universal truth. We stop learning a little too early. More so, after getting into a job, our learning actually stops. Now, you may challenge me, and I'm open for that challenge. I'm answering that challenge even before you ask that as a question. I'm saying, in a job, how many of you are working in some organization? So, many of you. So, you learn which helps you to become better in your job. So, the technical skills are learned. And you learn where your organization wants you to learn. They nominate you for a program in IIM, you'll very well go. My question is not that. My question is, how many of you are learning something on your own, investing your time, energy, and money? Obviously, it is about learning, is about remaining relevant. And the modern world is making people irrelevant a little too fast. Now, we have seen scenarios that organizations are chucking out people. Who gets chucked out first? I won't use the term here, but I'll use the word who is not relevant there. If I am learning, I am contributing to the organization, I am adding value to the organization will never think of me being chucked out. But they'll throw out the person whose value addition is less, whose relevance is less. They can get away with hiring a person with much lesser salary. Why should I pay 1 lakh per month if I'm getting a person for 25,000 rupees? So, one of the recommendations that I always make, it generally comes in the beginning of my sessions. Please, please, please continue to learn, investing your time, energy, and money about yourself, about the world around you, about the people around you. Because that is not being taught by the organization. And that is what will keep you relevant. If you want to differentiate yourself, your learning will differentiate you a big time. Right? And, okay, let me ask you another question here. How many of you want to be happy in your life? Oh, all of us. I'm surprised that no one is raising both the hands. Yeah? So we want to be happy. Now, happiness is an outcome also, and happiness is an input also. You don't become happy. You are happy, and that's how you create something and you become happier. Which means your feelings always need to be in sync with what you want to achieve. They need to be in sync, and only you can. Where are your feelings? They are inside you. Who knows the most about them? And if there is any shift required, who can do that? So you are the master, you are the creator of your own outcomes. You are the creator of your own destiny, so to say. This is the resourcefulness that I was talking about. This is the blessing that all of us have. The question is, are we utilizing it? Are we underplaying our lives? So, when this started coming in sync, let me tell you a little outcomes of this also. When I started falling into place, last year when did I start my YouTube channel? January 2017. And first 3-4 months it was regular, then some week I would post, some week I wouldn't post, and so on. But this January onwards, there has only been 1 week which I did not post, and that was also deliberate. Not that I did not have ready material, but deliberate. My book, which I announced in 2017, till about 2 months back, there was no work done, practically no work done about it. I was still, in every YouTube video, my starting statement is that, author of the upcoming book, Irresistible Workplaces. But today, 5 chapters have been written. So this is how the progress happens. Yeah? Any questions? This is now I am offering this as a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day programs to corporates, which I have shared in about half an hour. Yeah. Now, any questions? Was it useful?
Yes.
Did you learn something? Give a high five to the person next to you and say, that was interesting. Give another high five to another person next to you and say, that was awesome. Give another high five to the person next to you and say, you are awesome. See, the maximum energy came in this. Yes.
One thing only for you, which is after my last Saturday's learning, Sundar. Now, I'm just sharing about last Saturday. I think this session, last time what I heard, coupled with last Saturday, is really awesome learning. It's really awesome. And I just got the insight. I mean, I have gone through a larger section of this.
Yes, true.
So.
In fact, let me interject a little bit. Now, Sachin wants me to, wherever he suggests me to speak about something, he says, Vikram, speak this only. That's what he has been saying to me.
It makes a lot of sense.
Huh?
It makes a lot of sense.
It does, it does. That's why I'm sharing.
So I just want to share with others as well about this happy. Happy is outcome, happiness.
Yes.
The outcome, and it's also an input factor.
True.
So to be happy, be happy.
Yeah.
End of the story.
End of the story.
It's actually the state that you want to achieve. If you are in that state, you don't have to achieve anything.
Yes.
Particular. So that's
It's being. And since Sachin has mentioned this, there's a philosophy. And since I'm in the training space, I always love to use the board. And we were able to get this little cute one. So there are two philosophies, two approaches to life. One is do something, have something, and then be happy. That's one philosophy of life in which perhaps 99.9999% people are. But there are some people who play with these words and change it to first comes be, in that state do something, and what you want will be many times multiplied.
All the success lies.
All the success lies in this only. Now what happens is when people are in this state, they get so busy with do and have and exhausted, there is no time to be.
Being is exhausted.
Being is exhausted. Good. Being is exhausted. So first work on the be which is inside you. That's the energy source. From that energy source, do what you want to do, and the outcomes, the have part will automatically flow, because there is no other way. That's how the life operates. Yes, any questions? Yes. I'll appreciate if you use the mic.
You explained about being victim. How about negative feelings? How do you control them, regulate them? This feelings is something which are more dependent on people.
They're more dependent on?
People.
Is it? Is it so?
Interact with people.
Is it so?
My feelings are not just controlled by me, they're more controlled by people around me, people I surround me.
Yeah.
So, how do you categorize them?
Good question.
These are good people.
Good question.
I know. I don't have to be. Because happiness is what everyone wants. These are the.
Good question. Good question. Can we have a round of applause for that? So how I would respond to this question is, one is, can you think from this perspective that the feelings are not controlled by people, but they are inside you. They happen. Now, let me give you the example of, let me use this. In fact, I think yesterday I shared it with someone. What is there inside this? Inside this, what is there?
Copper wire.
Some wire is there. But why have we why have we done that?
You're shielding it,
Why?
protecting it.
You are protecting it or you are protecting, right? So, what is the role of this black cover? This is what is called insulation. So, what we need to do for ourselves on a day-to-day basis, how are we shielding ourselves from these negative energies which are around us? You can't control what she will say, what she will say, what he will say. You can't control. And don't even make an attempt to, because you will fail. What you can control is what you are absorbing inside. What you are allowing to churn inside you. That is what you can control. And whatever you churn inside will become deeper. So these two coaches are nodding, so I think I'm saying something right. Right? So it's all about what is churning inside you. Now, how do we work towards that? We become insulated, we allow the right stuff to remain inside. I've already said it earlier, I'm repeating it. What kind of people are you meeting? And as I said earlier, it affects your energy. So after meeting a person, if you feel a little low on energy, start meeting that person a little less. I suggested that start reading books. Who stops you from that? And his journey started with the book You Can Win, and his journey started with You Can Win at what age? 12 years. So he gets a head start. I was given that book when I was around 35 years of age. And that's what started that churning inside me. So you can decide what you are reading. You can decide what you are accessing on the internet. You can decide how much time are you giving to what exposure in your life. Notice one thing, my dear friends, your sense organs are always absorbing something. You can decide what gets into your sense organs. Power is with you. Are you aware of that?
How do I?
It is there inside. You don't need to identify. You need to look into the mirror and say, I am powerful. And that is there. We all have been blessed with that. I go back to what I do as a circle. You have your actions, you have your feelings, you have your thinking. That's what gives you power. Don't wait for someone to tell you that you have power. It's already there. It's a default setting by our creation. The question is, who is able to leverage that power? That's what makes the difference. Now, the question is, let's say, how did I meet Sachin? I've been in touch with him for so long. Because there is a resonance in the energies. How is it that I met Dinesh once and we have become partners in an organization? How does it happen? Because there is a sync in the energies, there is a wavelength which matches, there is a similarity of thought. There is a desire to make a difference. And you also have that. Now, there is a homework for you. Will you be ready to do that? Okay. So, tonight, when you reach back home, look into the mirror. Okay, let's do it here. You have a mobile phone? Take it out, take it out. Let's take it to the logical end. So, if others want to join in this exercise, they are welcome to do that. Others can also join in this exercise. Take out your mobile phones and put it in a selfie mode. Put it in a selfie mode. And now see your face in that. And say, look into the eyes of the person who is staring at you from the mobile phone and say, I am powerful. थोड़ा एनर्जी के साथ बोलो ना, पावरफुल. I love myself. I am the best. I am the best. थोड़ा सा और, I am the best. I am powerful. Mubin, notice the voice energy in you. Say it with power. Do it once again.
I am the best.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead. I am powerful. I am the best.
I am the best.
I am powerful.
I am God.
I love myself.
Love God.
Yeah? Keep doing that again and again, and you'll start noticing the flow of that power inside. It's there. I'm saying it once again. It's default setting. It's default setting. Period. We have allowed it to get covered by so much of stuff. Why did it take me so long to get rid of that? Because the baggage was 50 plus years old. Victim mentality was not now. It came from my childhood. Right? It has to be slowly get rid of it. That's how it works. Any one more question? Otherwise, I have a story to tell and then I'll close. Any one more question? You want to ask a question? Enough of it. Okay, there are two answers to that. One is my intention was this year end, but my daughter is the project holder of that book, and her wishes go, it will be much before that.
Oh,
I have been saying this year end, but she has been saying,
See, this is a public statement. This is the belief she has, and she's going to make that.
and because of her belief, I have been able to say that it may be possible.
You are the people.
Yeah. I'm staying with the right people. Yes, any one question? Sunita, that was a short question, so I can still take something. How can we brand ourselves? Okay, when you're saying how can we brand ourselves, what brand do you have in mind? What? Okay, be a leader. So, which leader do you have in mind when you're thinking of a brand? Fine. I'm saying, can you take a name? Who do you think, which leader has a brand? Apple. Apple is not a name. Apple is a company. I'm talking about a person. Bill Gates. Okay. So what has Bill Gates done? Right? So do something like that. Do something like that. So there is another teacher of mine who says, don't break your head on too many things. He says, if there is a possibility of copy and paste, do that. So notice what successful people have done and do it in your own way, make it your own product and make it visible. See, when you're talking about a word brand, it means it's visible. So do something which makes you visible. Now let me ask you, are you okay for some question answer? So let's say you have some specialized skills. Analytics was one thing that you had.
There is some development forum that she leads within Microsoft. That's what I heard from her.
Right. So you work in Microsoft. Okay.
She's a leader in
So you are there. So the question is, how do you start becoming more visible? When you project what you are doing to the world at large. So do you write some blogs? Right? You are a blogger. Podcasts are there. WordPress is there. Podcasts are there. You can make some podcasts. What else can be done? You have a YouTube channel. You can start a YouTube channel, share your knowledge there. This is the only way. When more number of people know about you and you go to a forum, And you introduce, I've seen your video. That's what his brand is. That's what needs to be done. And you need to be present at these forums. That's how the world will come to know about you. What do you think I did when Sheena called me and said, Vikram, we want you to come and be one of the speakers? What do you think I did? I jumped. Wow. Now it's an opportunity to become a little more visible. I didn't know you, but today we have some connection. Right? So that's what needs to be done. I am doing it slowly and steadily. It's working. Right? So just to close the story, I said that I'll close with a story. You would like to listen to a story? Yeah, great. So the story goes like this. There was a set of soldiers, and after finishing a war, they were returning home. Their energy levels were down. Their spirits were down. They were tired. And by the end of the day, they were hitting a village. They were reaching a village. So they asked for shelter. The people in the village readily provided the shelter. And since they were famished, they were hungry, they wanted to eat something, they wanted to restore their energies, they asked, can you help us with some food also? Now they got a little scared, insecure, because the war had affected that village also. Their food supplies were going down and they were not sure when will they be restored. So they were a little hesitant, they were not very forthcoming. So, but these soldiers are soldiers. Soldiers never give up. So what they found somewhere in the village, a pot. They took that pot, they found a water source, they cleaned it very well, they put some fire, they put some water in the pot and they put it on the fire. And they took a piece of stone, cleaned it very well, and put it in the water and started stirring it. And along with started humming sounds and right. And villagers going beside that, they were wondering what's happening. And obviously, since there was fire, there was pot, they were stirring it, they thought there is something being cooked. And if something is being cooked, and they were also famished, they also wanted something fresh to have. They thought there may be an opportunity for us also to get. But how will they get it? Unless they ask the soldiers, how will they get it? So, one of the villagers approached that soldier and asked, what are you making? The soldier said, we are making stone soup. We haven't heard of it. And he again started singing, stirring. And after a little while, one of the soldiers takes a spoon of that water and tastes it. And another villager asks, how does it taste? Oh, it's perfect. But I believe only if we could put some carrots in this, it would taste even better. Oh yeah, I have some carrots at home. Rushed through the home, brought the carrots, they were chopped, cut and put in the water. And after a little while, they taste it again. Another person asks, how does it taste? It's perfect. But I believe if a little bit of onion could be added to it, it would taste even better. And this is how they put some onion, some potato, some spinach, right? And they continued, how does it taste now? I believe a little bit of salt could have really made it wonderful. A little salt, a little pepper, a little this, a little that. And the soup was made. And since it was a big pot and they were stirring and there was a village around, they served it to the whole village. And everyone, as they were singing, dancing, everyone started doing the same thing. Now, what's the moral of the story here? Now notice what you're saying. Notice your words. This is very important. I have picked up because my senses are very sharp in picking up this. What's the word that you use? So, how do you, if you treat people as prey, will they support you?
We use some extraordinary words. You say that, okay, this is so good. If we add some salt, it will be better.
Right?
This kind of words will energize them.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But the word prey is what I'm worried about. How are you looking at the people around you? They are not prey. They are a party to my story. We are talking about my team. They became a part. If I treat them, my team, as my prey, will they ever work for me? Will they not sense it? So I am a student of behavioral development. That's why I pay attention to the words. The choice of words defines us. That's why I noticed it. Right? They treated those people as resources who could be a part of the story of the soup. That's how I would put it. So what's the lesson for you? When you give, you get also. So it's about sharing. Now those soldiers started with an idea. They started with an idea. And that idea was what turned into the soup of mixed vegetables.
Forgot the first word. Create. I forgot the first word.
Go ahead.
Second is vision.
Uh-huh.
As a training, you start.
You start?
Starting is important.
Starting is important. Starting is important. Then the word मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर लोग साथ आते गए कारवां बनता गया. सूप ऐसे ही बना ना?
It's a perfect example of whatever you
Absolutely.
thought, action, the cycle.
They did not give up. They were still hungry, but they were singing. The being part was there. They did not give up when people said we can't provide you food. They still had an idea. And they, with that idea, see, if they had to treat people as prey, they would have put a small pot there. Not a big pot with a lot of water in it. Because they wanted to feed the whole, and they wanted to reconnect the whole village. Right? So that's the idea. Right? Yes. Please do. Idea started with? No, idea did not start with nothing. Idea started with the idea that we want to have something to feed ourselves.
Content in your idea.
No, was water the content or not?
Okay.
Yeah?
What do I get? That's the case. I guess that's it. Without my answer.
Yeah? Was water the content or not? The pot was an idea. And the stone was a trigger.
But how do you sell this idea in a reality world? Sorry, I got that word before.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. No, you probably helped me do that. So, the soldiers created a belief
Yeah.
and gave them a vision.
Yes.
The vision is the soup.
Vision is the soup.
Final product.
Yeah.
The belief is that something is cooking really.
Yes. And it was cooking really. It was cooking really, and they just wanted their contribution. Now, how do you sell this idea to the world? Don't treat the world as prey. Now, he has not mentioned because his vision is different. But many startups today are looking at doing something and cashing out. That's not the way to build organizations. The way to build organization is you continue to invest yourself in that till it becomes humongous. And how it benefits. What we are looking at is how does my idea solve your problem? How does my idea make your life simple? I'm a facilitator. So my whole work revolves around how do I help someone to make his or her life simpler. Maybe just, I don't know how much will you capture from today, but if you just implement just one idea, I don't know, it may be the game changer. That's what I'm working on. Right, so thank you so much. Yeah, my pleasure. So I'm writing here My YouTube channel, please subscribe to this. On YouTube, search for this Viduggal, and please subscribe. Keep watching, keep commenting, keep liking. That's it. Was it useful?
Now, now we would like to appreciate you. I guess it's good now. So yes, I invite co-host once again. And before we do this, it was really very empowering. I would say you all would agree. They both were amazing, right? It was like we did not realize where we are, and it was all worthy. So that's really nice. That's really how we say creating the world. Thank you so much for that.
So thank you, you all for being here. Thank you, these wonderful hosts. I met some good friends, made some good friends. Sheena, she stays in our community, and she grew up in the city where I grew up, and we just met by chance, and it's a small world. So thank you for all of you for being here, listening to us, and
Thanks. Part of that WhatsApp group where
which one?
your wife or that.
She actually noticed that. Yeah, yeah. My pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.